Good evening, you all. Good evening. Good evening to you. Good evening to all of you who are coming in. Thank you for coming in. Good to see you all here. Good to see all of you here. Thank you for coming in. All of you who are here, thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Those of you who are, good evening to you. Good evening to everyone. Juanita, Angel, Chris, thank you all for coming in on the live. I'll give you a little bit of what the topic is about in just a moment. I'm just waiting on a few more people that may be wanting to come in. I'm not going to be on long. I have something, another that I have to speak at 6:40, 7:45 on this evening. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you all for coming in. It's good to see you all here. Good to see you all here on the live. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about something I've been thinking about, and thinking about people, thinking about myself, and thinking about others, and thinking about the times that I have had to counsel people. And I wanted to talk about more so of some of the reasons behind them choosing to want to talk to me and for me to be in a counsel with them. I don't know if you've ever been at a place where you get a lot of feedback from people, and the feedback that you're getting at times is not all well and good. Thank you all for coming in. It's not all the time well and good with the feedback that you're getting. Let me change this real quickly so I can be public. So I don't want anybody to feel like that I left them out of this. Okay, now, so I'm public. Oh, now I can see the comments. Thank you. Now I can see the comments. Okay, if you're on, I would like for you to like and share, please. Please like and share if you're on. And I'm going to ask you that you would like and share in the comments, if you would, please, if you would do that for me. Okay, so here it is. I was sitting around just preparing for what I have to do. What I have to do at 7:45, and I started thinking about something. I said, you know what? I said, sometimes people really don't like you because they're not doing them. But look what I found out, y'all. Look what I found out. What I found out is when you're doing you, people can't handle that. People can't handle that when you're doing you. They can't handle that when you're doing you. And one of the reasons why they can't handle that while you're doing you is one of two things. Either they're so used to the old you that you may used to be, or they're just thinking that you're going to just stay the same. Or the other reason may be that they don't like the new you or who you have become, or the you that you have been trying to discover to be. And one of the things that I have, I've trained myself to do is not really listen to all of the hoopla about me. And one of the reasons is, it's very simple. It's because I know who I am. When you start finding out who you are, you're not listening to the other things that people are saying about you. And you're not prone to react in such a way. And then you start recognizing and realizing to yourself, oh, they don't have anything going on. Because if they had anything going on, they wouldn't be so focused on what I'm doing or what I have going on. Because one of the things I found out is when you're busy doing you, you're not really concerned about what others are doing. And not that you're not concerned about them, but in a way that you're being nonchalant or arrogant about who you are to them. But it just simply is what they're thinking of you tends to become none of your business when you become successful at what you're doing. You know, and one of the things that I realize is a lot of times those the ones that are sitting on the sideline that are cheering on their gossip and that are cheering on their negativity, is because they have not yet found place and room in their life to anything positive about themselves. One of the things you got to learn how to create is a positive vibe, even if you don't have another vibe to make love to, another vibe to make love it and trying to reduce off of. You got enough vibe in you to produce itself, to become what you're trying to become in life. And you need to know, just by way of motivation, you need to know the only one that can really stop you is you. And one of the things that can keep you from stopping you is stop stopping to the negativity. Stop stopping to the negativity. You know, people that are not busy, they tend to lean on and into everything that's going on around them, going on in the community, going on in other people's lives. Never will they know what God is really speaking at the moment, at the time, because they're not tuned into it. Whatever you're tuned into, that's what you hear. And whatever you hear, that's what you become. So myself, this is just in case some of the people don't have nothing to do, just in case that they're on. What I do is I learn to tune my ear to positive things. I learn to tune my ear to things that I want to do that I have not yet achieved, that somebody else has. And one of the things that can bring a balance to our world is when people learn to mind their business. Balance is not something that you something that you do. Balance is something that you create. Some people say, "Wow, How can I find balance? You don't find balance, you create balance. If you're always trying to find balance, then you're never going to have time for the things that you really need to do. You don't find balance, because if you're looking for balance in everything, then you're just simply are going to lose out on some things. You know, a bicycle on its own and by itself doesn't need balance. And when it does, it finds, most of them have kickstand that they lean on. But, a bicycle by itself doesn't need balance. It's only when you get on the bicycle and begin to pedal and ride that you tend to, watch this, need to create balance. You don't find it, you have to create it. Because just imagine being on the bicycle and it's your first time or your second time on the bicycle and you're trying to find balance. You don't find the balance, you create the balance. And you only can create balance by really discovering what you're doing. You begin to study what you're doing, begin to study where you're trying to go, and what it basically is that you're trying to achieve. Sometimes people can't create balances because they're not truly trying to do anything or go anywhere in life. What's the need for balance if you're not going anywhere and trying to do anything? If you're just sitting still, you already have your balance. That's about what people are doing. That's why they have their balanced day. And what brings balance to their day is trying to find the negative in everybody else. And I want to stop right there and talk about this part, because if you look at someone long enough, you're going to find that they're not perfect. If you begin to study you long enough, you're going to find out that you're not perfect, that you're so much of a long way from that. Yeah, if you begin to look at your body, if you begin to look at your skin, you begin to, watch this, you begin to look at your feet, you begin to look at your hands, you begin to look, watch this, around you, you begin to look at your past, you begin to look at your present. And then also when you begin to look into your future, you understand and find out that, look, I am capable of making a mistake because I'm human. Now, that's not just something I tend to focus on and that I'm going to try to do, because that's not where I want to live. That's not the kind of life that I want to live. But the kind of life I'm trying to live is trying to be successful, which I am going to be successful because I take time to understand and know the mistakes that I've already made and try at my best to delete them, so I won't end up, watch this, that I'm always capable of making the same mistakes again. People tend to lean to negative vibes because that's the only thing that thrills them. Yeah, and you have to watch folk. You have to watch people. You have to watch people that always tend to listen to other things about others that's bad and that's negative, and they have eargasms off of it. Yeah. They have eargasms off of your downfall. They have eargasms over you failing, over you not making it to the next level, over you not succeeding in things, over what they feel and think about you and their opinion of you, even though they can see the facts and see the truths. There have been people that sit in my midst and know what I used to be and see what I used to do and sit right in the midst of my transformation, but they will never acknowledge it. And the truth is, they won't acknowledge it because it really bothers them that you have changed. Yeah, it bothers people when you change. And that change bothers them because, watch this, you change for the better. Now, if I'm going to change, it makes no sense for me to change for the worse and change for the negative and change to go backwards, because that's just not change at all. But when I really focus and I'm determined to change, it always should be a change for the better. Yeah. And you can always tell when people have changed for the better, because watch this. Normally, when people change for the better, is they do something different. That's just the normal. Yeah, that's just the normal. That's just the normal. But when you know that your life is not normal, watch this. You tend to go from A to Z instead of going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because you recognize that the potential that you've had and that you've held back on, that you should have been operating in years ago, watch this, is trying to break out of the gate. And then you come to a place, you know what, you can hear the bell ringing. You know, whenever it's a horse race, whenever, I used to love going to the rodeo, and I'm not taking the time to go to the rodeo. I missed a rodeo that was in our area. I really wanted to go to the rodeo, but I was busy at the moment. But I can remember my grandfather years ago used to go to the rodeo and used to take us to the rodeo, and we used to do different things. And one of the things that I noticed is, and one of the things that I really loved about the rodeo is I saw the bull. I saw the bull, or either it was a horse that was locked in the gate. And then at a particular time, a bell would ring, or they would make some particular sound. And at that sound, the gate would open up. And one of the things that I saw was sometimes the bull or the horse was anxious to get out of the gate. So they were kicking and jumping and jerking in the pen and kicking up against the gate and rubbing up against and pushing up against the gate because they were ready to break out. Sometimes that's how your potential is. And it begins to speak to you. Yeah, when it's ready to break out. Yeah, the potential is kicking against your mind. It's kicking against your heart. It's kicking against, watch this, kicking against your success, the success that's in your womb that's not manifested before your eyes. Sometimes it kicks. You say, what? I'm getting ready to let this out the gate because I've been holding back long enough. I've been at the back of the line long enough. I've been putting me on hold long enough. So when it begins to kick, watch this, when it begins to kick and success begins to kick inside of you, then God is just simply saying it's time for it to manifest before you. And I want to encourage those who are on this to let you know, if it hasn't happened yet, I want to let you know. And then everybody else may have seemed to have left you hanging, left you for dead, may have broken out of your life, may have cut you off. Let me tell you something. You have more in you than what's around you. Always. There's always more in you than what's around you. And you have to learn how to gravitate that's within you. Yeah, because a lot of time that what's around you is not planted. It's not rooted and grounded. So when storms come and when the wind begins to blow, we're looking for people. Yeah, and let me stop by right here and let you know, stop looking for another you. Yeah, I said that. And I know it's hard it's hard not to do. And sometimes we tend to overdo it. And when it comes to people, and we can watch this, we can overgive ourselves because basically we are looking for somebody to love like we do. We're looking for somebody to do like we do. We're looking for somebody to embrace like we embrace. We're looking for somebody to feel like we feel. But sometimes it doesn't happen. And the reason why it doesn't happen is because they're not you. And the reason why they're not you is because they don't have the heart that you have. And that's what really make us up to be who we really are. It's the heart that we have and carry on the inside. One of the things you have to do is you have to learn how to suspend and release people that you are looking for the same that you give in return. You have to learn how to release that in life, because if you're not, you're setting yourself up for a habitual disappointment. You're setting yourself up for habitual letdowns. You're setting yourself up for habitual, watch this, habitual tears. Yeah, you can never expect you from anybody else. Yeah, because and this is a moment in a time in life. If you look back out of all of the people who did not survive and all of the people who did not make it here, God graced you to make it here, not just for you to be who you've been all of your life, but for you to become the person that He created you to be. I was telling the people on Sunday that, how sometimes we tend to lean upon things that people have said about us, and we become that very thing. But when you understand and know that God has created you like this, fearfully and wonderfully made, you tend to focus on what He said when you start really feeling yourself. Can I deal with that for just a moment? Feeling yourself. Feeling yourself is not all that bad. When you start feeling yourself, watch this, it just simply means I got a view of who I am, and I've simply, watch this, I've tuned into who I am, and I'm feeling myself now because I really know how much I've missed out on, because I've let people define me. I've let my situations define me. I've let my circumstances define me. But then when you start feeling yourself, you understand, watch this. You know what? I'm making a declaration in my life that I'm not willing to go that way again. Yeah, I'm not willing to go that way again because I found out I missed too many moments. I missed too many days. I missed too much of the good parts of me that I did not know, that I just simply stumbled upon, in my misery. Yeah. And if anybody is going to be miserable, it's certainly not going to be me. Because you have to make up in your mind, I'm going to spend the rest of my days in victory. I'm going to spend the rest of my days discovering who else God has intended for me to be. I'm going to spend the rest of my days, giving glory and giving honor to God and finding something in my possession that I can offer him. Because I know, because I found out that can't nobody give to you like God. Can't nobody counsel you like God. Can't nobody embrace you like God. And there are those times in life where we simply walk up into relationships, or we not stumble, because that's not something that you want to stumble upon. But when we find out and we begin to converse and commune with people that we really have some kind of connection to, which is never physical first, which is always spiritual. Sometimes people have made the mistakes of trying to categorize men, and it's a physical connection when the physical has not even taken place yet. And you got to understand that you're a whole vibe because you are an energy, and you're an energy because you're a spirit covered in a flesh. It's never a physical vibe that happens with you and the opposite sex, or what you're attracted to. It's always a spiritual vibe. It's always a spiritual vibe because that person is a spirit. Yeah. That person is a spirit and you don't even know them. How can you connect so quickly to people and you haven't even really had a conversation? It's just simply because it's a spiritual thing. And one of the things that people have failed at is understanding and knowing spiritual things. We find out everything about the flesh, and I've counseled and talked to many people, and they've, and they try to say, you know what, I don't have any good luck. I've heard women say, I don't have good luck with dark-skinned men or light-skinned men or tall men or short men. I've heard many men say, well, I don't have good luck with light-skinned women. I don't have good luck with skinny women. I don't have good luck with thick women. I don't have good luck with educated women. I don't have good luck. It's all things like that. But you got to understand, it's all a vibe, and it's an energy, because it's a spirit. It's a spirit before it's anything fleshly. The connection that you have, with God, watch this, it's not physical, it's spiritual. And because he's the creator of all, he's the creator of all of us, watch this, it's always a spiritual thing before it is a natural thing, a physical thing. And there have been people, and this is why people don't understand, there have been people that have fell in love with people over a conversation. Nobody's never touched them physically. They've never done anything outside of the norm. But they have caught and gravitated and embraced an attraction to that man or that woman just simply because of the spirit. Yeah, the spirit, which is, here's again, the personality of a person. Do you know that is why people, watch this, stay together for years? Not because of a physical attraction, but people stay together for years because of a spiritual attraction. They're attracted to a person's personality. They just love to hear them talk. They love to be in their presence, love to be in their midst, because they give off, watch this, a good vibe. This is why some people now, some people, they don't really want to go into the God thing. So they call it, they got a bad vibe. And people want to call it vibe, but it's really a spirit. It's really an energy, which is a spirit. Yeah. That's why sometimes you can feel. That's why sometimes not just feel, but those of us who know the spiritual things, it's about discernment. You can discern. You can tell. Yeah, that's the attraction. And that's why some people say opposites attract. Some people said that, watch this, we are compatible. but it's all about spirit. It's all about what you're seeing and what you're feeling and what you're feeling about a person. And then it becomes deeper when you go into, watch this, when you go into conversing with that person, you begin to, watch this, learn more about them in an expectation of what they're saying, you're believing about them. Then when you get around them, you get to know them a little better. See, and this is why people, they're putting emphasis around what they are feeling and what they're attracted to in the physical, and not really understanding and knowing it is a spiritual thing. Yes. And I believe the more things that you feed your spirit, and the more positive things that you feel your spirit and you feel your spirit with, I believe those are the things that you become attracted to. You get that? Did you get that revelation? Did you get that revelation? Yeah. This is why some people are attracted to prosperity, because they don't have time to get the other stuff in their spirit. And whatever's in their spirit is what they are attracted to, and also what they attract. Yeah. Yeah. And you got to know you're a whole vibe, because you're a spirit. You're a spirit. You're a spirit. Yeah. And you got to start loving you. Yeah. You got to start loving you. When you start loving you, you'll start understanding you. And once you start understanding you, you'll start knowing you. And once you start knowing you, watch this, you start creating things about you. You know, one of the worst things that I've ever seen in life is people going through life not ever knowing who they are, and always have allowed other people to define them. Even if somebody has a gift from God, and they have a gift that they can tell you about yourself, and they can tell you what you're going to be in the upcoming future, they still have not defined you. But what you can do is take the information that's been given so you can define yourself. Because one of the worst things you can ever do is sit back and wait for people to define you. Because sometimes people are so jealous, and they're so mean, and they're so wicked, and they really don't want you to know that they're really envious of who you are, and they get a glimpse of who you are becoming. And what they'll do is they'll try to spoil that. And then what happens is when they really want to define who you are and know that you're waiting to hear that, it will always be in a way, in some type of thing, in some type of course of words that always reduce you down to, watch this, to the norm. Yeah, they'll reduce you down to the norm of something that is not even normal, knowing that you can do more and be more than who they saying you are. And they're not going to give you the full benefit of the doubt of who they really see you are getting ready to be. So they tend to shy away from that. Yeah, and do you know people will plant themselves in your life so you won't become that? And then one of the sick things about it is, and the sad thing about it is, we already know that, but we love the company because we're desperate. Let me tell you something. Never become desperate for company, because when you're desperate for company, that just simply means you've gotten desperate for attention. Yeah, and I know, I know everyone on here, and I know even myself, no one can live without attention. And if they do live without attention, they're going to live a miserable life, because we are a people, a part of humanity that, watch this, needs attention. Yeah, and I say that because no one that has been created by God never learns to just accept rejection. That's why we seek. That's why we search. That's why we look for, even when we already have. Yeah, because you have not been created to be rejected. God has something better for you. He has something that you can connect to, that you can grow, or it can grow you. Yeah, so never be defined by the words of men. Never be defined, because sooner or later, if you keep on learning that and learning that behavior, you'll never become what God has intended for you to be, even before your mother and father met one another. You'll never become anything great listening to and depending upon the words of people to shape and form and make your life and your world into what you're looking for it to be. Because sometimes people won't do that because they're really jealous of you. And a person that's jealous of you, a lot of times I've learned they tend to never tell you, but it's always seen more in their actions and in their talking and telling to others. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to learn how to love you. And then watch this. Learn to embrace what does love you and learn to let go of what doesn't. There were times in my life where there were particular people that I wanted to love me, that I wanted to show me attention. And I ended up hurt. I ended up broken. I ended up with a bruised heart and my emotions entangled to a place of a web of desperation because they would not love me or give me the type of attention that I wanted. Then there were those that God sent into my life to embrace me right where I was and love me for who I was and love me for who I was, even with my difficulties, even with my proclivities. Yeah, they embraced me and loved me just for who I was. When the others that I really look back at it, I tended to put on a show for them to love what I was putting on. And what was really putting on me, what was being put on me. And they were just drawn to me because of that, just simply trying to get something out of me, but not wanting to put anything into me. Yeah. So you got to learn how to love you. I'm not talking about being arrogant, and being a narcissist, but I'm talking about learning to love you without anybody speaking into your life thinking that you're arrogant and not knowing that now you've become confident. Yeah, and confidence comes through. Watch this. Confidence comes from you overcoming the storms and battles that should have really took you out. Confidence comes through you being dogged, abused, broken down, torn down, spoken negatively to, and held back, tied up, tied down. But overcoming those situations and conquering them, never to face that situation again, that you're not going to let nobody talk you into the grave. But talk you into, watch this. If you're going to talk me into my purpose. That's simply what confidence is. I've looked back over my life and I've seen where God has allowed me to come from and where he's brought me from. So I can't be arrogant, but I'm just confident. That what that does is that makes a place in my life or shapes a place in my life that puts me in a place in my life that things that I am even facing now that I may face tomorrow, I'm confident that God has given me the strength, the wisdom, the ability to not change the situation, but to overcome it and conquer it, that I can get through it. Watch this, and keep my sanity. I'm confident, not arrogant. That's the difference in that. But when I'm arrogant, it seems like, I got it going on. I don't need no help. I don't even need God's help. Then, I make a place that people, watch this, just simply need me. No, that's just arrogance. That, you just really can't tell you nothing. You just think that you think that you're above certain things to certain people. But when you already been to those low places in life, and you already seen, the times and places and situations, challenges that really killed you, but God took the time to raise you. And when you raise you out of, you can look back and say, you know what? I'm confident in God and who God has called me to be. So learn how to love you. Learn how to become everything that God has intended for you to be. You know that I learned the most wealthiest place in the world is the graveyard. And I want to take a moment right here to encourage everybody that's on. Don't take your wealth to the grave. Take it to, watch this, the unlimited purpose that God has placed in your life. Look, this is Carlos Shipman. Learn how to love you. I promise you, you'll start feeling better about life, about situation, things, and even yourself. Yeah, learn how to love you. Learn how to love you. You're important. Learn how to love you.